Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been running towards suspicious packages since 2017. I'm your producer, Rob Diesendorf, here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years, but they decided to come together to help you win your league and make your friends look like idiots. How's it going, fellas?
Good. I usually tune in. So, for those that don't know, for all you cuties out there, Rob works at Citizen, the app. You should all download it right now, and has an important job there. But today was live and had a suspicious package. I usually tune in, and I did not, so I apologize. But was the mood tense for your suspicious package?
The mood was tense.
Panda watch.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. What was the situation? What went down? Give us the play-by-play.
Well, there was a suspicious package. I got a notification near my office, and there was a supposed package. Said package was in a phone booth on the corner of a street. And so I went to go check it out. I started going and reporting, and I got there, and we found a cop, and we said, "Is there bomb squad here?" The cop said, "No, all clear." So we were like, "All right, let's go." So we ran to the suspicious package, and then it turned out that it was a Wi-Fi router attached to a motorcycle battery.
That sounds so sketchy, though.
Oh, that's
shoved into a telephone booth.
Who hasn't done that? Who hasn't gone to that length before to
We've
get some
all
Wi-Fi?
And what that really tells me is that people need free Wi-Fi really bad.
Yes, 100% agree.
That is bizarre.
It is bizarre, and also
smart.
I'm like, yeah, you're kind of genius, but also like, is that like, where's that Wi-Fi going? Is it even going to reach wherever you're trying to get it to go?
What street?
Absolutely
was this on?
not.
Like, what if somebody just tried it? I think what happened was somebody just tried it, and then they realized how dumb it was, and then just ran away and left it.
They're like,
Why would you leave all
never
that
mind.
stuff, though? They just left it all? Like,
Do you want to be seen carrying a battery and a Wi-Fi router around New York?
no, but someone clearly brought it there and carried it. So we might as well finish the job.
Wow,
if you
I
didn't
just had a
want it there
great
anymore.
idea. That would be a great startup business. You pay people to be walking Wi-Fi routers, and you just like, it's like Uber. You just summon them, and they come and they go wherever you are in public, and all they do is they stand in your vicinity and give you the Wi-Fi.
That's actually a
That
genius
sounds like
idea.
a terrible job.
Terrible job. Great for the owner of that business. So let's start that. Let's get that. We got to workshop a name, and then we're good to go. That's all we need. Catchy name, and then we're out.
I guess TaskRay isn't that the name of the app, TaskRay, where like you pay
Oh yeah,
someone
you
to
could get someone. Yeah, you could get someone on TaskRabbit to do that.
TaskRabbit. Sorry,
TaskRabbit.
idiots.
Tasker. Oh, that might be one too.
No,
There's this type of thing for all that kind of stuff in the, everywhere.
all that junk.
Well, that's a great suspicious package story, Rob, but we got to talk about another suspicious package, and this one's a suspicious green package that's making it to the Final Four of our Mascot tournament for the Food Mascot Combat Final Four. Oh, the Green Giant beats our Burger King. Good night, sweet Prince. We are going to miss you, Burger King, and this is a national tragedy.
It was 25 votes to 24. Burger King lost by 1 vote.
Yep.
Come on, man.
I'm pretty upset. I'm at a loss for words. I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of mad at all of our listeners for making this happen.
But you know what? I think, like, oddly, the Green Giant now, that this is a nice statement win for this guy. Like, all of a sudden, I kind of respect him a little bit more because that's a big win for this guy. And you could say what you will about him. I know we've hated on him since the beginning of this tournament, but you beat the Burger King and you gain a little bit of my respect. I'm still rooting against him. This is like the Wes Mantooth situation here at the end of Anchorman. I hate him, but god damn it, I respect him. What a win for the Green Giant.
It was a win. Yeah, it's he's been decidedly the favorite in all of these matchups. I feel like, I don't know. first of all, the Green Giant, there's no gifts of him, so I couldn't put him on there. So I had to put the Burger King as the gifts, but I feel like I was subliminally telling people to vote for the Green Giant by accident because he was larger in the picture, in the story.
Damn.
And then I realized it after. I was like, ooh, did I just...
A little psychology going there?
I don't know. I don't even know anything anymore. I don't. Let's just move on. I can't.
Yes, totally agree. So the next
I'm never going to respect the Green Giant.
The next matchup here, we had the Kool-Aid Man and the Nesquik Rabbit. This one was over before we even started creating the tournament. This is predestined by God right here.
35 votes to 14. Not even close. Dismantling.
I want to have a word.
Wow. It was way out of its league, too, by the way.
I want to have a word with 14 of those people. What are you thinking? In what world does the Nesquik Rabbit take out the Kool-Aid Man? I don't even imagine any universe where that's remotely possible. This should have been 100% to 0%. But you know what? Regardless, Kool-Aid Man moving on, and he's going to take on the Green Giant. This is a heavyweight battle in the in the semifinals.
Were they just being
Kool-Aid
contrarian? Like, they were just being like, oh, Nesquik.
Maybe.
Why not?
Kool-Aid Man is my new front runner. I think he's going to take the crown.
Yeah. I think I said this last week. Kool-Aid versus Cheetos. That's going to be the matchup.
Oh yeah, Chester Cheetah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to see that.
Next one we got was Aunt Jemima and Paul Newman. Number 4, Aunt Jemima. Number 2, Paul Newman. 29 votes to 22. Aunt Jemima squeaking out a win in the human battle.
Look, I
wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, me
battle.
too. I was about to say, like, look, I totally get it, but I think if we see this one in real life, people change their tune a little bit because I think a disservice was done to Paul Newman today or on Thursday. And it's going to take a while for me to get over this because we lost not one but 2 of our favorite contenders this week. So if you think that we're the ones pulling the strings here, putting these people through, it's not true whatsoever.
That's not it.
Right?
Nope.
So Aunt Jemima moves on to the final 4. She made it to the T-shirt. Really, probably the most unlikely candidate out of this final 4. And you got to hand it to her. That syrup has some magical powers.
She had like a hometown crowd behind her, though. She was a surprise
favorite
coming into this these matchups. You know, everyone. Aunt Jemima, like she was creating some buzz. Again, another one where the picture kind of failed me here. Newman's own, put the charity one on there, and it maybe made him look weak. I apologize.
Yes, a little soft, but you know what? Aunt Jemima, she earned it.
They both have this wholesome power to them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I see
Definitely.
that.
There's just this old timey, like
nostalgia,
vintage strength that they have. It's all in the forearms.
In the forearms, in the rice. The power's in the rice.
Just like Uncle Ben.
And the last one we had, Captain Crunch, Cheetos Cheetah.
Done.
Captain Crunch.
Crushed him.
Got crushed by Cheetos Cheetah. 29 votes to 20.
This one, I know, Scott, you were worried about subliminally, maybe psychologically, kind of tainting the results here.
Yeah.
I purposefully, intentionally tainted the results here for the Cheetos Cheetah. I texted everyone to go vote, and I put in my story that if you respect me as a human being or something along that nature, you will vote for the Cheetos Cheetah.
I saw that.
I may have stuffed the ballot a little bit here.
That's fine.
I mean, look, he was going to win this matchup regardless. I was just being safe here, and I think now that he's in the Final Four, a clear path past Aunt Jemima, and he's going to be the underdog if he makes it through in the finals. But this guy's dangerous. Just look at those shades, and you know that he's got something up his sleeve.
We should have done that for like our stories for the Burger King too. Like, if you do not vote for the Burger King, I will not talk to you.
Yeah.
But
too late though.
It's too late.
I think everyone's really lucky that I didn't look at who voted for who on that Burger King thing because I 100% would have canceled everyone that voted against him. You'd be out of my life.
We could read them off right now. I don't. You know what? Now, I'm not
if either of you had voted against Burger King, I would have ended this podcast. I would have just deleted it.
What about our friendship?
Yeah, that's gone.
Dude, that's deleted too. Well,
Yep.
I'm glad to say we didn't vote for. We did vote for
me
Berkeley.
too.
We didn't vote for Green Giant.
I will
But
say
the-
though, respect to the Green Giant. He went off. He's in the Final Four. Stay tuned for on Thursday, even though it's Halloween, for that Final Four, right? And get those votes out there to determine our finalists. Look, these guys went off in the Elite Eight to make it to the Final Four. I mean, the Cheetos Cheetah had a great day. Scott, let's look at who had a great day in Week 8 of the NFL season. And I'm just going to throw some names out there. My boys, my whole fucking team: Cooper Kupp, Tevin Coleman, Mike Evans, Latavius Murray. Everybody went bonkers this week.
Yeah. Who got hurt? J.J. Watt. Not really noteworthy for fantasy purposes. Texans defense was kind of not really universally owned anymore, but tough blow for him. He's got probably the most heart out there, but hurt. League-wide trends, though. Let's talk about trade deadline. It came up fast and furious. It's Tuesday. It was, by the time this releases, Tuesday, October 29th, and earlier in the week, Kenyon Drake, who was on the Miami Dolphins, didn't travel for Monday Night Football, got traded to the Cardinals.
Yikes. I mean,
Yeah.
we know the Dolphins are just imploding, but I would say this is part of a bigger trend. The NFL is starting to look more and more like the NBA, where guys are just on the move constantly, right? So the league looks different this week than it did last week, than it did the week before, because a lot of teams are making these little marginal moves, trying to get better, trying to save a buck here or there, trying to rebuild. And all of a sudden, there's less guys that are starting and finishing the year on the same team. We've already seen like 3 or 4 times this year a revenge game because somebody traded, like we have Gary and Conley this past week. Somebody got traded, and then a week later is playing the team that he was just on because there's so many moves happening. In terms of fantasy football, some of these moves are better than others. I think Kenyon Drake to the Cardinals in the short term could be a really nice move for Kenyon Drake owners.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Chase Edmonds. By the way, Chase Edmonds, like, absolute killer. This is it's unbelievable. He produces 3 touchdowns as the presumed backup 2 weeks ago. Then David Johnson is actually ruled out inactive. Chase Edmonds is the starter and has like 7 touches for like 10 yards and then gets hurt. He's out for multiple weeks now. So Kenyon Drake will have some good value for the next couple of probably 2 weeks. But David Johnson's apparently day to day. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's another one of those like too hot to handle situations where you just want to believe and it doesn't quite happen. I have a couple of those guys, and we're about to talk about a couple of them in these snap count percentages here. And Devin Singletary is definitely one. Miles Sanders is definitely one. And I feel like Chase Edmonds now is kind of in the same boat where it's like, can we get this guy enough touches? And then they finally get enough touches, and it's like, oh, maybe they just need a limited workload. So we're kind of in a weird situation here if you're an owner of one of those guys, because they're way too good to drop, and they're not quite trustable on a weekly basis. So what are you thinking? What are you gleaning from these snap count percentages, Scott?
Yeah, well, Singletary finally flipped from Gore. Gore had 29% snap percentage on this past weekend. Singletary 67, got a receiving touchdown, but that team was just overmatched for the Eagles. Miles Sanders got hurt too. Look at like the Rams. Gurley only had 54% of snaps. Henderson 45, which is an interesting development there.
And he got more carries, Henderson. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah. Interesting. Ty Johnson. This is another thing. I touted this all week. I think you did too. And people would ask me like, all right, Ty Johnson, like top pickup. And it was kind of like, no, slow the roll a little bit. Matt Patricia literally said this is going to be a committee, and it literally was. Ty Johnson, 37% of snaps. Trey?
It's Trey, but it's spelled Tra, so I kind of like this guy already.
Carson, Trey Carson. He was on the Packers earlier this year, I think. 31% snap count. And J.D. McKissick, 26%. If that doesn't spell timeshare, I don't know what does. Melvin Gordon, 57%. Eckler, 52%. They were on the field a couple of times together. So, kind of interesting, these splits.
Yeah, and I would say, like, yeah, that Lions split is bad enough already. But if you go back and look at Kerryon Johnson's numbers, they're not they're not that good this year.
Exactly. Yep.
So you're getting 37% of what? Of like a barely an RB2 or maybe just a low end RB2. Like you don't want it. No, thank you. Go spend your free agent money somewhere else. Spend your waiver claim somewhere else. Go pick up a defense. Like the answer is not to be had in that backfield, and it's just one of those teams where you invest in the wide receivers, you pick up Stafford for a weekly streamer, and nothing else. That's it.
Yep. And then wide receivers before we move on, some snap percentages. For brand new wide receivers in new roles after the trade deadline, Emmanuel Sanders traded to the 49ers, had a touchdown, played 82% of the snaps. Mohamed Sanu traded for a second rounder to the Patriots, only played 53% of snaps. Did not look that good, in my opinion, for the eye test. Philip Dorsett, by comparison, who's been on the team, obviously, for a year and a half now. 92% of snaps. Not a good development. Deshaun Hamilton, who's presumably going to step into the role that Emmanuel Sanders just left in the Broncos, only 58% snap count percentage. So do with that what you will, but if you bought low on Mohamed Sanu, it's going to take some time for him to get in the ecosystem, just like it did with Josh Gordon last year, just like it does for every single wide receiver that comes into Brady's system. Takes some time to get into the groove.
Yeah, they have such a complex offense there that even though Sanu is a really smart player, used to be a quarterback, all that jazz, it's gonna just like you said, it's gonna take a couple weeks. And I think they made this move more so for the NFL playoffs than the fantasy playoffs. So slow your roll on Sanu. And I would say with Deshaun Hamilton, not even worth a pickup because Joe Flacco, he can barely support Cortland Sutton, who's a stud, by the way, that just needs a better quarterback. So if he can't even support that guy, Deshaun Hamilton, I know he's on Rob's sleeper team, but not necessarily a safe pickup. I would go elsewhere for on that regard as well. Let's get into some of these recap segments, Scott, coming up next. Okay, let's get into some of our recap segments for Week 8. Let's start with our bad haircut fantasy regret of the week. And this one is one that almost happened to me, so I almost did this. But playing Chase Edmonds over a guy like Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray, one of those big-time like flex calls that you probably have to make this week if you're a Chase Edmonds owner. If you picked wrong, I mean, that's I guess the bad haircut equivalent of that shaved sides, long on top look that was all the rage from 2013 to 2016. About like circa those years. I don't actually know the name of this haircut, but everybody was doing it, and I knew it wasn't sustainable. There were much better, more consistent haircut options all around, like the classic 3 on the sides and the back, trim the top, a nice little mid-fade, the normal haircuts, as opposed to shave every part of my head except for the top fluff, so it looks like a rat is nesting on my bald head. Like, that look... Everybody had it, Scott. I know you didn't have it because we were around each other a lot then. So you would have had to really hide that from me with hats and whatnot. But
I did wear a hat every time we hung out.
We did know a few people here or there that had that haircut, and I just didn't get it.
Is this like the really long, and then you spike it back?
The aggressive, too much hair on top and too little hair on the sides,
like Brad Pitt and Fury.
Let me Google it real quick while you filibuster. But yeah, probably.
Yeah, that was a weird look. That's too aggressive.
Yeah,
completely agree with that. Because I was like, I had really short hair on the sides, but in the front it was like a 2. It was like a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, and your hair like texture is different than the one I'm picturing. I'm talking like long. Oh yeah, this is it. Brad Pitt and Fury. Oh yeah,
Brad Pitt and Fury.
That's literally.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulls this off because he's Brad Pitt, but there's a lot of people that got this haircut that didn't have like a chiseled jawline and like slowly, gracefully aging cheek structure. Like there were some bad looks out there for the people that tried to rock this haircut, but hopefully you avoided that. In 2013, 14, 15, or 16. Hopefully you're avoiding it now, and hopefully you avoided playing Chase Edmonds over Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray, those types of guys, because it's much better on the other side.
By the way, wouldn't have been a bad move going into the week if you really thought through the process. Obviously, Latavius Murray killed it last week, but it was like a game-time decision almost for Alvin Kamara, like that morning of, so you might have missed it. Tevin Coleman playing the Panthers, kind of a stout defense. Chase Edmonds playing the Saints, very stout defense, but like what, 7 touches, 10 10 yards, and got hurt right away. That kills you. I played him in one league, and knock on wood, hopefully pending Monday night, because we're recording that then, I do well, but Chase Edmonds, killer.
Yeah, injuries in general are killer, and that's a theme here for our hashtag canceled, turn on the music player of the week. I got two guys here, Scott, and let me just vent, just like you did last week about Will Fuller. My two guys are Deshaun Jackson and AJ Green, because I am fucking sick of these guys wasting away on my bench. I will not draft injured players in 2020. 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 And I need to replay this podcast next summer so that I don't hate myself in November because I drafted injured players in 2020 because I'm wasting my time here. Every week, I check the injury status on these two guys, and every week, it's not like it's every week is like, oh, they're out. Every week is like, oh, they might play or they haven't practiced, but there's hope.
Maybe there's
and
chance.
Every single weekend, Saturday night, Sunday morning, when I'm trying to enjoy my life, it couldn't happen like on a Wednesday when I'm like during a work day where I'm like, it's not going to ruin my day. Every time I see these guys on my injury report, it's bad news, and it kills me inside because they're too good to drop. I know as soon as I drop them, someone else is going to pick them up. They're going to be healthy. They're going to play. They're going to do well. So they are just, I just hate them so much, but I have to keep them. It's the worst position to be in fantasy football. I will not draft injured players in 2020. I did it to myself, Scott. So maybe I should be canceling myself here. Rant over. But these guys, I can't stand them. And I know you knew better, and I know you're going to be like, oh, well, that's why I didn't draft AJ Green. But I was
not going to say that.
But I could hear you thinking it because you're right.
No.
You're right. You're totally right. I was wrong, and I hate this because maybe AJ Green gets traded. It won't matter because he's not going to play. He's just hurt.
Won't matter. Yep.
Brutal.
He didn't even have a tryout this year with the Bengals. Like, he didn't have like a showcase before. If he did get traded, he didn't have a showcase because he didn't play for the Bengals all year.
Yeah, they're both canceled. I'm done. But but I'm still in. But I'm done. Emotionally, I'm checking out on these guys.
And Todd Gurley, similar thing this year, like going into the season, hurt.
Hell yeah.
Stuff. I mean, you feel better. I felt like you really needed that. I needed Will Ferrell last week. You needed this week.
Yeah, it's been slowly bubbling, and I love that you just threw that Gurley thing out there because honestly, before the Zeke holdout ended and we drafted for OG, I was legitimately contemplating the Todd Gurley, David Johnson conundrum at with the 4th overall pick, and I'm just so happy that Zeke ended his holdout, picked him, didn't have to worry about now adding Todd Gurley to this
easy
trifecta here. But yeah, I do feel better. It feels great. Let's get back to some calming things here. Our beauty sleepers, we're looking good. I mean, Austin Eckler is a good football player, so that running back choice for me, I mean, he's been wildly outperforming the expectation I had. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews has been rock solid. On your side, you got Austin Hooper, who is just like quarterback proof,
unreal,
matchup proof, coaching proof. Like, this guy's a stud. He's like the George Kittle of this year. It makes no sense, but I love it.
He is. Contract year, too. Devin Singletary finally got a touchdown. Curtis Samuel's getting held back by the quarterback and coaching of that team, but Kalen Ballage is now the second string because they traded away Kenyon Drake, so hang my head on that. And Sam Darnold, are
we just going to wait until Gase gets fired and then we can finally actually fairly evaluate this guy?
Then we'll figure that out. Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And Browns wide receivers, first off, actually, maybe we should spend a minute here because I think we both envision the Browns being really fun on offense and doing some cool stuff. They don't do anything cool.
Nothing.
They don't even.
They're so boring.
So, I mean, brutal choice here. I would say Matt Breida, kind of really good player, but he's hurt.
As always, as every other week.
Yeah. So Rob's beauty sleeper is not doing quite as well as ours, but there's still hope. Maybe Odell starts chucking the ball around for Baker. Maybe they just flip positions. That'd be a nice little flip right there. Who knows? And I will not draft injured players in 2020. I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere on me so I don't forget.
Before we move on, I just want, in our Google Doc that we put together every week, 7 pages this week, by the way. We put in some work. We do this every week for you.
Oh, yeah.
7 pages of work, multiple hours of recording. Anyway, in this section, Sean put, "I will not draft injured players in 2020 10 times." It was like you got detention and you had to write on the chalkboard.
That's it.
So
I got to learn my
lessons.
I'm going to sear it into my brain for forever. That's it.
Well, I will not sabotage you next year in our drafts by telling you, "Oh, he's not that hurt." I'm just going to tell you, don't take it. You know what you said on October 28th when we recorded that episode.
You're not going to need to tell me anything. It's going to be like Christian McCaffrey is going to have like a bruised thumb, and I'm going to be like, I don't care. I'm not taking him with my 13th round pick because I'm not taking injured players in 2020. Is that
no
simple?
Injuries?
No injuries. As soon as they get injured, I'm trading them or cutting them. That's it.
I wonder what the stats on like people's teams with no injuries are.
Yeah, they're probably incredible because there's availability there. Anyway, I will not draft injured players in 2020. Hopefully you don't either, and we just avoid this heartache together. All right, I got something special cooked up for you guys this week for By the Dip time, and it's actually not cooked up at all. And you'll see what I mean in a second. Our dip of the week for week 8, going into 9, is brownie batter.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for me, the best vehicle for consumption is your finger, nothing else. Let's discuss.
I'm going to say that's the second best vehicle for consumption.
Ooh,
First,
second best
being the egg beaters that you use to like swirl it around.
Oh
my
I
God.
like that. The whisk.
Those are a hassle.
Those are a hassle, but like I'm in for it. I want the hard work there. It's different than like sunflower
challenge.
seeds is just like hard work. It's just annoying. This is like
Lobster.
hard work, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it. It's brownie batter.
So you like to take it off the whisk. That's actually it's actually kind of good because it slows you down.
Right.
You know.
See, I disagree. I like that. It's like that. It's not a spatula, but it's like a mini scraper, and it's got a black handle. You know what I'm talking about. It's got a not clear, but kind of like opaque, but also soft, like spatula type thing on the end of it. I don't know what this tool is called. I'm gonna look it up, but it's like literally like a brownie
flat spoon.
scraper. Yes, exactly. And it's like bendy. That's what I will. That's the only other thing I'm eating brownie batter off of, other than my finger.
See, I start with that usually just to get like volume and quantity, and then I slow myself down with the beater.
Oh, so it's a volume
This is
play.
science.
I gotcha.
If I'm starving, it's a volume play. Yeah. If I'm like, maybe you should slow down, you fat ass. It's the beater.
I'm gonna throw a wrench into the works here because you guys are going and saying, finger, whisk, whatever. Take it to the next level. Get yourself an Oreo cookie
Oh wow.
and dunk it in the batter.
Oh God, that's too much.
That is interesting.
Can you imagine that? I'm not saying I've done this. I haven't even done this, but I just came as soon as you said brownie batter, I was like, oh, I got to put an Oreo in there.
I feel like my teeth hurt thinking about that.
My arteries are clogging thinking about it.
But I'm in for it.
It's like getting punched in the face with sugar.
Let me ask you a quick question. Are either of you worried about salmonella at all?
No,
Because I'm
no,
not.
that's a myth.
Never.
In this instance, I'm not worried about it.
No, that doesn't happen.
Everybody's been warning me about salmonella from cookie batter and brownie batter my entire life. 26 years of eating that, and I have never had a problem. I don't think it exists. I think it's just. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who made that up? Who's the person that started that?
I think it's a myth. I think grandmas made that up
Oh, so you'd have to wait for them to bake.
to stop kids from eating the batter before the things are baked.
Wow. That is a spicy take right there. Oh my God. Oh wow.
Grandmas.
I think we're going to table this before we get every grandma in the world as it becomes an enemy of the show.
This is a direct attack on grandmas, okay?
but it's
Don't
definitely
make any
something to keep in
mistake
mind.
about it.
Next time you're told that, be like, "What are your sources, Grandma? Give me your source. I need names."
What do you think? What do you think? Science is real?
It's real science.
You think I didn't take Earth Science, Grandma? Well, think again. Guess what I learned from Earth Science that I'll never forget? If you shake a bag of chips, the big ones go to the top. That's all I ever remembered.
If you spin it also in a circular motion, same thing with a bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
It's actually a pro tip, and I don't think a lot of people know that, to be honest.
Good to know.
You do that. You got to do that.
I read an article, and it says, "Go ahead, lick that spoon. I've consumed 360 raw eggs in my life, and I've never gotten salmonella poisoning. Here's why." And I intend to read this tonight.
Oh, I was going to say, you literally read that article in like the past 2 minutes that we've been talking about this. That's impressive.
I did take a speed reading class, but I can't read that fast.
Dude, also, Rocky used to down raw eggs during his training, so they can't be that bad.
Why?
Just because it looked cool in the
Pure
montage.
Protein. Yeah, I don't know why. That's a good question.
Did anyone ever ask him why, or were they all just like cheering him on, like, hell yeah, dude?
I don't know if that's
they
a good
needed
movie.
it. They needed him to like drink something and make a weird face for the montage. And I'm gonna throw this out there. This is completely unrelated to Buy the Dip, but I think that smell is maybe the worst. It's one of the top 5 worst smells.
What raw egg?
Raw egg.
Honestly, like
really?
even when you,
I don't know if I've
them,
even smelled one ever.
They smell weird.
Man, I always get it on my hand when I'm cracking the eggs and when I'm making eggs, and it just like makes me throw up my mouth a little bit because I know the smell is just it's so close to home.
What is the smell? I've literally never smelled it.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain. Don't recommend it though. It's just something about it. Oh, it's just bad. Anyway,
it's different.
We should probably move on, and I don't know. I mean, like, I don't have any segue this week. I couldn't tell you. Maybe this guy's a little suspiciously sweet, just like the Brownie batter. Maybe I found it right there.
Nice.
Teams and or players to target. Who are we buying the dip on this week? And I'm just going to throw something out there. Like, holy shit, I was finally right about Miles Sanders. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's finally turning the corner. Hopefully the Eagles realize, like, maybe we have something with this guy. And I know at the end of the day, Jordan Howard got 90 yards and a touchdown still. But, I mean, if they want to win games, they got to get this guy the ball. So he's the type of guy I would take a shot on if you are kind of losing your way down the stretch here. Maybe Kenyon Drake, Mark Walton, if you're really desperate. Scott, who do you like out of those guys? Who are you telling people to target this week?
Yeah, I don't know about Miles Sanders. I think there's a couple of factors playing against him. Deshaun Jackson is eventually going to come back, and Miles Sanders is the second fastest guy on that team. That's why they're throwing him out in the slot and stuff like that, because he's taking on the Deshaun Jackson type role. So he's coming back soon. Jordan Howard, like you said, rumbled for like 90 yards. He's still the guy there. He's still like the main rusher. And not that he's known for his pass catching, but he's still done it a little bit this year. They beat the Bills handedly somehow, but that game was like 30-mile-per-hour winds, so of course they were going to run it a lot. And I don't know. Miles Sanders, Boston Scott also vultured a TD, and Miles Sanders got hurt as well. So I don't know. There's like a lot of factors against him. I'm not buying him. I actually bad timing, but I dropped him in one league. I don't really care though. I'm not going to like try to pick him up again. I don't know.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, the more he feels like a great play next year.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Which kind of sucks, but I'm here. I'm here. I'm on the roller coaster, and I'm not getting off anytime soon. I will say one team that I would definitely try to target players on and this is more of a healthy recommendation here. The Raiders, because they're still flying under the radar. They're like sneaky good on offense. They have Jacobs, they have Tyrell Williams, Darren Waller. I would take any of those three in a trade, and you're probably vastly improving your team as long as you get some value.
Yeah, I love that. And the reason I said Kenyon Drake and Mark Walton, it's because they were part of like a trade, basically. Mark Walton was not, but he steps into the starting role because Kenyon Drake was. So keep a lookout for the trade deadline and what happens from there. Like maybe AJ Green gets traded, and then all of a sudden Auden Tate has value for the rest of the year, or Deshaun Jackson or Robbie Anderson, someone like that. If they get traded, there's going to be voids to fill with guys that you could pick up or trade for.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's perfect you just said that, because I'm going to say, let that be your guide for the waiver wire this week. don't go nuts for a guy like Darius Slayton, who, had a spectacular game this week, but had 2 catches. And you want more sustainability. All you need to do is play that trade deadline waiver wire game. Look at who is emptying a void, like you just said. Look who is moving to a better situation, and go pick those guys up, because that's where you're going to find value this time of year. It's not really there to be had in terms of picking guys up right now, because I'm guessing your waiver wire has been picked over by some buzzards or something at this point. So
Vultures.
People vulturing people left and right. I would say this is actually, just like you mentioned before, you drop Miles Sanders. This is the time to kind of sit tight with your team. Unless you really dislike someone, don't make a move just to make a move at this point.
Thursday night football time. Actually, like, sneaky good. We were just talking about this. You were saying this is a sneaky good matchup. It is 49ers at Cardinals. 49ers are an unbelievable team this year. I got to be honest, like, people were like, oh, who's the beauty sleeper team of the year? And I think both of us were in agreement it was the 49ers from last year, but I didn't think they were going to be this good.
Totally agree. I mean, they are vastly outperforming expectations. I mean, they can beat you in so many different... Nick Bosa, George Kittle, who hasn't fully gotten going yet, but is still so fun. The running game.
Kevin Coleman.
I mean...
Defense.
And, like, we haven't even talked about their quarterback, who is sneaky good, and all he does is win football games. Nothing... Yeah. I mean... It's very ironic to say there's nothing sexy about the way he wins football games, but when he's probably like the best looking quarterback in the league, I mean, so when he's the 5th or 6th person you mention with this team and he's playing really well, that there's something magic going on there. And I would say the only reason here that I think this game could be a really fun one, well, there's a couple of reasons, but the biggest two rather, it's Thursday night, it's away at Arizona, and the 49ers next week have the Seahawks. I believe the Seahawks. I got to double check. But this is a big-time trap game spot. I do think they're well-coached enough to avoid that, but I think that adds a little flavor to this Thursday night. What do you think?
Interesting. I like that. 49ers are favored by 7.5. So a couple of stats here. Cardinals won 8 straight games against the 49ers. Did you know that?
Wait, what?
8 straight games against the 49ers,
including last year.
Triple check it.
That's crazy. Yeah. I can't believe.
Weren't the 49ers terrible last year? They were 3-13, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. But I thought the Cardinals were also terrible last year. Huh, that's interesting.
Well, now I'm like overthinking it.
No, I believe you. I believe you. You don't have to worry about it.
No, wait. I don't believe myself for a second. I wrote that down. I was like, Cardinals won both matchups last year.
Wow.
28-18, 18-15. On October 7th and October 28th, 2018.
Some weird scores from those games. That's how you know the team's bad, when the scores really make no sense.
Yeah, and that was like 2 of the Cardinals' 3 wins. I just realized that too. But anyway, they've been pretty bad in prime time. The Cardinals going 0-4 straight up and 0-3-1 against the spread in their past 4 night games. 49ers 4-0 on the road this year, 3-1 against the spread, and overall they're 5-2 against the spread on the season, which is tied for second best in the NFL. But they're 0-6 against the spread in their past 6 games where they've been favored by a touchdown or more. So I feel like this is 7.5 is a little too high for my liking. I think Kyler Murray could find some holes in this defense at home. The only reason I say that is because they're home, and the 49ers have a really good home field advantage. But I don't know. I think it might be like a touchdown game here, not 7.5, like not more.
I can't do it. I mean, after the past 2 weeks that Nick Bosa's had, poor little Kyler Murray is going to be running for his life on Thursday night.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. 49. I'm taking the 49ers. Why did I just...
It's the type of game where it seems too obvious to pick them. It seems way too easy to pick them, but I think we just got to do it, because here's the narrative I see. Sometimes I pick games based on the narrative. Like, can't you see them and the Patriots... I was trying to figure out which team loses first, because they're both undefeated for like way too long. Like, I can see the 49ers getting to like 10-0. They beat Arizona here. They beat Seattle. They win their next game. All of a sudden, we're like, can this team go 14-2 and get home field advantage for the whole playoffs? It's very possible for this team, because they win ugly, they win pretty, they just win, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna take. You're right. I'm gonna take the 49ers.
And Scott, the helmets.
Yeah.
The helmets. I mean, come on.
Helmets. The uniforms are fire.
They are.
They're so fire. All right, that does it for Week 8 recap. Thanks for listening. Tune in to the story tomorrow. Instagram story. Final 4, people. Semifinals. This is big.
Tell people to vote. Get some new blood in here in the story votes, because we need more. We need a bigger sample size to get a truly accurate representation of who would win a death match where arteries are getting ripped out of throats. Like, that's what we are talking about here. We're not talking about some, popularity contest. We need people to consider
Death match.
the death match consequences here in these matchups. And let's go, Kool-Aid Man. Because you need to do a national service and take out the Jolly Green Giant this week.
Please.
That's my boy.
Kool-Aid
My boy's
versus
going to do
Cheetos.
work. He's got a couple moves. He literally has a couple. He has 2 moves. He's either going to bust through a wall and crush you, or he could throw you into his jug and you have to swim out, but you can't because the sides are too slippery to get out.
Interesting.
If we had more time, if none of us had jobs and this is all we did, we could have written up a full scouting report,
Synopsis of it.
like an NFL combine scouting report for these fighters.
Oh, man.
Rate them on their attributes, but alas, we have no time. So that's really up to the people.
There is nothing more I would like to do with all of my free time than to just hyper focus on what each of these characters' abilities would be.
That'd be fun.
This would be a great video game, honestly.
It would be.
I kind of regret.
Death match.
I kind of regret that we're recording right now, because I feel like someone's gonna rip that idea off of us and go make.
We should be developing.
They
Yeah,
better
we need
not.
to be
They can
developing
sponsor
this
us.
game right now. Imagine Super Smash Brothers, but with all
Oh my god!
Food mascot. That's
Brand.
so clutch.
characters. Oh my god! Fuck this.
Think about the
Why are we doing
advertising
a
money.
podcast?
Think about the money we bring in from the advertisements. Oh man!
Oh my god! We fucked up.
We would call the game something related to Tiger Bomb. Maybe Tiger Bomb, but bomb instead of BALM.
Tiger Bombs.
Oh my god!
Wow.
So this will be the last episode of Unqualified.
Yeah, we're gonna go
pivot
make it
to
rich
video
here.
Be right
games.
back. We're gonna go learn how to code.
We're gonna learn to code and find a nice web developer to build out this game structure. We're gonna use the Frostbite engine.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. So
I don't
you're
even
right.
know any other. I was just trying to throw out some video game terms.
Sounds
good.
legit.
Keep it going.
Yeah, we're gonna use a.
What kind of model? RPG type model?
Yeah, RPG with the
yeah.
defibrillator engine and
And yeah, the Echidna graphics
Python on the
card.
The key here is we need to make in-app purchases also, so we can get all that
Right.
little kid credit card money where they steal their parents'
yeah.
credit card. Oh, we're gonna be rolling in dough.
side. You're rolling
That's where the real money is, right there. Oh my god!
Little Johnny got a hold of the credit card number, and he's racking up $800 worth of in-game characters.
Not again.
All right,
All right, we'll
so
make it happen.
you know what? It's been great. Hopefully, your fantasy career is everything you want it to be, and we'll see you when you tune into our game, Tiger Bombs, and have a good life.
I'll see you
See
later.
you in the channels. Well, see you later.